Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Portal Pieces. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thanks for joining us, as always. Tonight's episode's another great excerpt from our full-length interview with James Bobo Fay. Of course, you may know him from Finding Bigfoot or from his podcast, Bigfoot and Beyond with Cliff and Bobo, that he does with Cliff Barrickman. And this is another great example of the kind of, awesome guy Bobo is. He's just a thrill to talk to. He's got a great sense of humor and just some amazing information and experiences. So check it out. I think you're going to love this one.
My question is, I actually have two. The first one is, have you ever went on an expedition and actually connected with the Sasquatch, making you feel like, I know you?
Not on expeditions, just maybe the closest places I go near my house. I took out a guy a few years ago, this German hitchhiker guy that was all dressed up like to backpack, wearing really expensive gear. And I mean, he looked like he was set to go for months, huge pack. And I kept seeing him around the redwoods, and I picked him up, and it turned out it was 4 years ago when we had those huge snowstorms out here. There was like 30 foot of snow all through the Sierras, and he came out to hike the Pacific Crest Trail and couldn't get through. So he was hanging out in the redwoods for a couple months waiting for the snow to melt. And I picked him up, and he was a carpenter, and I had some work for him to do. And so he spent like a couple of weeks with me, and then he wanted to go back in the redwoods because he heard so much about Bigfoot. He read books at my house and looked at all the casts and got super into it. And I said, well, I got a spot I can take you to where I've had the most action. I said, I don't know, I said, I'll take you out there and you go off trail and just hike like the next valley over. There's no one, I've never seen another soul over there. I said, if you go up in there, and so we got to the parking area where I park, and I did a couple loud howls and whoops and a knock. Then we hiked in, and as we were walking in, about 200 yards down the trail, there was a dead rabbit laid out, like presented, like it looked like it was still warm, like had a broken neck. It was just laying there, like stretched out across the trail, but like presented, like someone laid it there, like it didn't die, like of a heart attack mid jump or something. I was like, oh man, that's strange. And then heard some soft knocking, but I couldn't tell for sure. It might have been a bird or something. And I took him down a couple miles down the main trail, and I said, all right, this is where you got to cut up, and hiked him up a little elk trail. I said, just keep going that way, go for another mile or two, and then you drop down this valley and camp in there for a few weeks and just make some noise at night. I said, they'll probably show up. And I did another couple of howls up there. Then I hiked back down to the main trail. And then there was another bunny, a big one, right, and this thing was just been killed. It was still way warm, laid out right where I went off the trail, where I used to put out fruit and candies and stuff for it. And then when I hiked back on the trail back where I found the first dead rabbit, there was another one laid out, and they were all in the exact same position, like head on the left side of the trail, their legs placed together, laying on its side. So I took that as they were gifting me rabbits. But other than that, I mean, I've had them leave sticks, feathers, and rocks, and like old shoes and old necklaces and stuff like that. But where I would go all the time, they would never. I think because I established like an antagonistic relationship from the get-go by doing aggressive calls and screams and yells, like, because that was the only way we knew how to get them going, was to make them mad, which is not the best way to start a relationship. But they would never take my food. I'd put stuff out, and it would, if the raccoons or foxes or bears didn't get it, they wouldn't touch it, for me anyways. So that was like the only time I had like where I felt like, oh, that was a connection. Or I've had them where I go up to the same spots I go all the time, where they'll maybe give me some knocks. Mm-hmm. But I take it like they're doing it to me, but who knows? I mean, it could just be me, my imagination.
That's cool. Well, thank you.
The ones down here don't knock. They don't knock at all. I've heard a scoff, and I've seen eye shine. I've been on several expeditions myself with my group down here, and the scoffing was the most tense moment. When they go, bah, bah, bah at you, you know?
Mm.
So I know.
Yeah,
On
they
that
definitely
note.
they definitely
But my
scream and vocalize around
huh?
the country. They're not the same, like the way they howl and scream and knock, like what they do around the country. It totally varies. Some areas they scream and yell, and other places they only knock, or vice versa. Or it's definitely regional.
Yeah, we don't hear too many knocks. Yeah, we don't hear too many knocks. We had a couple, but like in one expedition, we had a lot of vocalizations, but far off in the distance. It you could tell it was like a female, and we have that recording, you know.
Uh-huh.
And the Ishon, we got some Ishon up in Arkansas, which was pretty cool.
Mm.
We had two of them on opposite ends, so that was a weird area. That was close to Fouke, Arkansas, you know. Uh-huh.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
And that was a pretty hairy area.
That place still
You
goes
know, it was
off, that
pretty
whole
cool.
Boggy Creek area, and we saw. I hate telling this story. It's just such the Murphy's Law, Squatcher's Law, whatever. But last year, a year ago, May, I was down in there, and we were on south of Fouke Boggy Creek on the Louisiana side, and my buddy and I saw a huge, absolutely huge monster one. Like I didn't know they could. The first one I saw was about 10-footer,
Jeez.
and this one was it was 11-foot, but so much more mass. I mean, it was gigantic. It dwarfed a 1,500-pound bull that was closer than it was. The bull was closer than us in the thermal than the Sasquatch was, and the Sasquatch was still bigger than the bull.
Wow.
Oy.
By a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, it had a brand new $18,000
Wow.
thermal.
Right.
Yeah, that guy Wally had bought for the Olympic project. I don't know if you guys know the Olympic project.
Oh, sure.
Derek Randall's.
Yep.
Yeah, they had just got a brand new unit, and I didn't realize Bart Coutinho had one of those. He's got shot the Sierra footage, the Sierra's rock throwing footage. He got that thermal, but he had turned another model in to FLIR because there was a problem fell up with the SD card where it slides in it had a glitch, and it would say it was recording. It would say it was in, and it looked like it was in, but it was not recording.
Oh no.
And that's what happened to me. I thought I recorded it, and I flipped out. I called Cliff. I called Derek. I called everyone like at 1, 2 in the morning, just going, I got it. Because I watched it on the thermal, and it never recorded it.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
Oh, man.
Oh, dude, it would have been.
Wow.
It probably would have been better. It would have probably been better than the Patterson footage, just because it was so big. You couldn't. There's no way it could be a human. It was gigantic.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. Of course,
And we found.
Ginormous.
Yeah, we found old foot. We found old. Where we think it walked. I mean, we found these 24-inch impressions in the mud up on this embankment that had been dried out for months, but they were 6 foot apart. Each one was 24 inches by about 12, 13 inches wide.
Wow.
And it looked like huge, giant Bigfoot tracks where it stepped in the mud and sank down like 2 feet, then pulled its foot out, took another step. And this thing walked right by there that night. We saw it on thermal. And we saw, I mean, it walked in front of it was a power cut through power lines. We watched it walk in front of a power pole, and we saw where it went underneath the branches, where it went in the bushes. And it sounds nuts, but it was like 11 foot tall and like almost 6 foot across the shoulders, probably on 4 foot from front of the chest to the back.
Oh my God. That's just a monster. That's huge.
That's a big dude.
Yeah.
We both said
I'd be a flea on his back.
we were saying it had to weigh 2,500 pounds at least because it dwarfed. I mean, it dwarfed the bull. I mean, just dwarfed it.
Right.
Wow.
So, Christy, did you have a second question real quick?
Wow. Yes, I do. It's real quick. Here you go. Is Renee a believer now?
Just talked to her this morning. She said she still thinks it's a paranormal, spiritual phenomena.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's better than not believing at all.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
But yeah, her job on the show, though.
Exactly.
her job on the show was to be wrong all the time and be the skeptic.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. We hope you loved it. Of course, we'd love for you to get subscribed and to ring the bell so you get notified anytime any new episodes come up. You will be notified, and hopefully you can check them out right away. But we also encourage you to go over and get subscribed to our other YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/paranormal portal, where you'll find all the full-length interviews that we've done that you're seeing segments of here. The full-length versions are over there, and we'd love to have you go over there and get subscribed and check those out as well. But special thank you, and of course, keep your eyes open for the Paranormal Portal podcast, which is available everywhere that podcasts are available. So thank you so much for your support, and we hope to see you soon.